Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm gonna making more gnomes today. I actually posted these cute little leaf gnomes on Instagram this morning. The beard's made from a leaf and he's got a little fun leaf in his hat. And then here is one that's more traditional, more Christmassy. All right, so let's get started. For tools, what I love is I love this thing. It is actually made for like making teapot spouts, hand building teapot spouts. If I can find the link, I will post it in the show notes. These are just an assortment of MKM tools that I like to use. Got a knife, any knife would work. Got a brush. This is actually a makeup brush. It's one of my favorites. Serrated rib for scoring, and also the beard. Cookie cutters. These are some of my favorites for beards if I'm not using the leaves. All right, I have a slab that's over here that I've already rolled out about 1/4 inch, and I've already compressed it. My bending wheel, got a little roller in case I need it. And this is my pattern, okay? So I made these patterns years ago when I did a wedding and I did 3-sided mountains and 3 different sizes. So basically this is the big one, big gnome here. And it is 6x6 triangle. Okay, and then this is the little gnome. And this one is 4x4 triangle. Okay, and it's just cut out of craft foam, so it doesn't stick to the clay. I did write when I made them for the mountains, and if I think I still have a picture of the mountains, so I might add that in here. I rounded off the corners. They were 3-sided mountains that set up as a centerpiece for the wedding. Quite cute, actually. And I just, the other day, was thinking about, I've done gnomes before in the past using pinch pot method. And sometimes you just get those moments of brilliance. Usually happens in the shower for some reason. And I remembered that I still had these from the mountains and gave it a try, and it worked amazing. All right, so let's get started. I'm gonna lower you down and hopefully you can see this. So basically I'm just gonna cut. We're gonna do the big one just because he'll probably relate better on screen. And on these ones, I didn't cut out the bottom with the rounded corners on the edges. And this one I did on my template. Kind of gives him a robe-like feel. So I think I'll do that on this one too. So I'm just going to go around with my X-Acto knife. You can use your fettling knife or whatever knife you like. So I've got, now I'm in Utah and it is, there's a little humidity today because we're supposed to get some rain, but on average we have no humidity. So I tend to, in my studio, I have all the doors open. I tend to love to work that way, and so I cover my clay as I work because it just dries out too fast. In fact, a lot of times I don't even do hand building in the summertime because everything dries out too fast. So right now I'm just making a nose. Just round it out a ball, set it in there. It's just leftover clay. I'll put it under plastic. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to score the edges. Actually, this is the inside, and I tend to stamp them first with my stamp. I always have to make sure it's going the right direction. So this is my little mountain. Okay, so Hobble Creek Pottery, got that stamped in there. While we're at it, let's do something fun to the outside. On my mountains, I put this tree from NKM. I'm just going to roll it into his robe. Haven't done that yet, so we'll just see what that looks like. Okay, so we've rolled the tree into the robe. I've got my bucket of slippy water, and it's just water and leftover throwing slip. So I'll pick it up with the brush. I've already scored my edges, so I'll add some of that slip. And this is what makes this so cool. I love how this worked. So I'm just rolling it up. I usually tend to do it in my hand. And kind of like a taco. And I'll just bring the edges together. On this thing. And they can overlap. I don't tend to overlap them too much on this. It doesn't really need it. It's not like you're doing a mug. So we'll bring that all together. And since I've got it on here, I will take it and I can roll against it. And that helps with that seam. You will also need some sort of, like I used the metal rip of death for this a lot of times. And even though this was fresh clay, I've already got some cracking because, like I said, there's no humidity in Utah. So I will compress this again on the... Go ahead and smooth this out. And this is the front where the seam is. You'd think you would put the seam in the back, but you're going to end up covering this with his beard and then of course with this wooden roller on the inside. It just helps to have something to press against to seat that seam, press it so that it has a really good connection. I will kind of get the top of his hat wet. You'll see I constantly getting my fingers wet with a sponge, and then I will just coax this over. And you can twirl it, or make a complete curl of his hat. Maybe we'll do that one on this one. Okay, I'm gonna take that out. Go in here and just make sure that that's got a good seam. This is also one of my favorite tools. I don't know who makes this one, but it's like having an extra little finger, and you can get into these spots. And I will just double check that I've got a good connection on that seam. And I'll come in here and just do a little bit of cleanup. Kind of clean up the bottom of that. If you wanted to have it more of a bigger robe, just press that out. And I will come in where this seam is. If you're going to get cracking, that's where you're going to get it. So anytime that I will round it off, anytime you have a sharp connection of 45 or sharper, that's where you're going to end up with cracking. So by pressing that tool in and rounding it a little bit, that will help with any cracking. But also our beard's going to go here too. So I'm going to flare that out because he's very stylish, our little gnome. I love the more Scandinavian design feel I actually was a foreign exchange student in high school to Finland. So I love anything Scandinavian. So more classic, more traditional. All right, so, okay, so he's not setting well. So if he's not setting, then you just need to pull out his robe so that it trails behind him, because like I said, he's very stylish. You can get away with it. All right, and if you wanted to add little boots, you could add boots and attach him, but I don't think he needs boots. I'm gonna pull that out. You can also use this to widen it. Just roll it either on the table or on your hand, and that will roll it out a little bit. Okay. So next, we want to work on his beard. So I really like these, I got a set of these teardrop cookie cutters. Let me just hold them up for you. On Amazon, I can't remember, but if you do cookie cutter sets, you'll see ovals, squares, triangles, and these are teardrops. So I kind of find the size of beard that I want. Actually, I think he needs a long one. So you can either go long and flip his beard up on the end, or you can have him have a full beard. I think this one's going to have a full beard. So I'm going to cut him out. And then what I'm going to do, I am going to actually cut the tip with the same cookie cutter out, kind of give it a little bird's mouth, okay? Then I'm going to come in here and score this. This clay is actually fairly wet, so I'm not worried about scoring real heavy on both, just a little bit to give it some tooth. And we are going to be pressing in the hairs of his beard, and so he'll be fine. So another cool thing about using this is anytime that I am attaching anything to our gnome, I have something to attach next or against. So here I'm going to cover up just the very bottom of his robe where it comes up to the front. Okay. So I'll take that makeup brush again, and then I will come in here, clean these up, take that slip away, and just smooth that. I also like to come in here, make sure I have a really good joint, and just kind of go around that, and then I will clean that up again. I don't like his beard sticking out too much, so I will come in here with my finger and just kind of press that down so it's not like in your face, in your face kind of beard. That's kind of funny. Anyway, I'm cracking myself up. So come in here and just kind of round that beard off with your finger or with paintbrush, makeup brush. Okay, this is where they come alive for me. I'll go ahead and score right there. Take his nose, score his nose. And once they get a nose, the nose is what gives them the personality, I think. You can have a long nose, fat nose, oval nose, little nose. It's all up to you on what kind of nose you want for your guy. So I'll bring the nose in, make sure you can see this, and I'll just seat that. And since I've got this dowel, it's not really a dowel, but this teapot shaper, I guess, in here, I can really press and get that nose to stick. And I'll come in here just like I did my beard, and clean that up. Okay? All right. You're looking cute. You're looking so cute. Okay, this is the fun part. And you can't overthink this. If you start overthinking anything in pottery, it's gonna get you. All right? Just go with it. Pottery to me is all about being in the moment, mindfulness activity, all about the flow. And it's just clay. Remember that it's just clay. I tell my students that all the time. And sometimes your mistakes end up being your favorite pieces because it forces you to try something else. So don't overthink putting lines in your beard. It's one of the reasons why I like doing the serrated rib with the teeth, because guess what? It's going to make a lot of lines really fast, and I can't really redo it. So I'm just going to come in here under his nose, and I'm just going to follow down. I do take off the bits of clay, and I don't go over it. I take one long swoop. And the reason why, if you go over it, like if you stop midway and go back up and you don't take the clay off that rib, then you're going to end up with goobers in your beard. And no one likes goobers in the beard. Okay? I am a beard fan, but not when it harbors goobers, food, whatever. I'm from Alaska originally, and so definitely a fan of the beard. Okay, so once you get your beard in there, you can, change your lines if you want to. I always make sure that I have lines that go all the way around the edge, not just on the front. And if you get them on your little gnome on the side here, you can take those off. In fact, I'll just get a few. Okay. I want kind of more of a wave in front. And if you do have goobers on the beard, like I didn't wipe it off that time, so I ended up with a little bit more gooberish beard, just wait till it dries and they'll fall right off. You'll just knock them and they'll fall right off. Don't try to mess with them now. You'll just make a bigger mess and you won't be happy. So just leave them. So I'll come in here with my brush. Like I got little lines right here. So I'll just come in with the brush and I'll just brush those guys out. Okay? And I got stuff under his nose. I could give him a mustache, but I can also just, wipe his nose. And also if you wanted to give him nostrils, you could easily do that by taking, well, we'll just give him a nostril. Take your paintbrush, the end of your paintbrush, and just give him, we'll round it off in there. So now now that he's got nostrils, I kind of feel like we need to give him more of a pointy nose instead of a round one. Okay. All right. I'm gonna clean its nose up a little bit. Just round those off. And if you want him to have nostrils, you can add a little coil there, or you can just push from the inside out. And I'll go back in and clean that up again because I made it bigger and my nose is already dry because we're in Utah where it's so stinking hot. That's one thing about Utah I do not like is the summers. But then I was spoiled and nothing in the world beats an Alaskan summer. Okay, so here we go. Now, if we wanted to do a mustache, let's see. I will take this also. We'll go ahead and cut one of these guys. I used the small one. And then I'm going to cut it in half. We'll see if that'll work. So we can, yep, I think that will work. So I'm gonna just score the back of these. I'm not gonna score the beard. I mean, it's already scored. So then get these guys slipped. Bring him back up here. And we'll give him a little mustache. Oops, I got two of the same, didn't I? Let's see. Yeah. I must have flipped one over. Okay, so let me clean this guy off. Actually, I don't need to because I'm going to score the other side, so we'll just score it again. All right. So, I'm going to give him his little mustache. Oh, look how cute. All right. Now, you can actually, let me go ahead and just kind of smooth the edges there. And this brush seriously was a cheap makeup brush. I grabbed out of a kit, and it's been the best brush for smoothing. And I wish I could find more. I've actually bought other cheap makeup brush kits trying to find more, and they're not quite the same. So I'll just come in here and with this rib with the teeth, I'll just give him a hairy mustache. How cute and easy is that? All right, the last thing we need to do, he needs to have a brim on his hat. I use this tool. This is a corn on the cob thing with them spread apart. You can also GR Pottery forms. If you do any of them, I'm sure you're seeing this. This is actually GR Pottery forms that I got through them. So I'm going to take part of my slab. And I'm just going to come in here and I'm just going to cut a rim. I'm going to straighten it out here and just kind of give it a, just round it off. Now I'm not going to worry about scoring my hat. I am just going to score the back of this and give it some slip. And I'll show you why. Okay. Put this guy back in here. Actually, no, hold on. Let me go ahead and I'm going to go around his nose and down and around his hat. And since I put the trees on it, this is actually going to be up a little higher than the others. And I'll bring it over here in the back, do a diagonal cut, take those pieces out, and then push these guys together. Okay. Then take this guy, put it in there. Where's my brush? Okay. So bring my brush. I'm going to push this around his face, make sure it's on there. Now remember, I did not score the hat. I only scored the brim. Then I am going to come in here with my brush. I'll probably do my brush and make sure that joint is good. Yeah, I'm going to use this guy up here. Seriously, even if you're a hand builder, real thrown potter, you need this little tool. It is probably my most used tool. I use it all the time when I'm doing handles on mugs, cleaning them up. The clay shaper would work too. I've got a bunch of those. That's, whoops, sorry. They're actually attached to my caddy. Clay shapers like these. They work too, but this is my go-to. The clay sticks to those when I'm cleaning up, and it takes a lot to get it off. It doesn't seem to stick to this, probably because it's wood. All right. Turn him around. I'm going to come in here, just really clean that up around his nose. Come down. Clean up his hat, brim. And then I will come in with the paintbrush and really clean that. Get around his nose, make sure that that's good, and anything I need to clean up around his face, now's the time to do it, because I only have one more thing to do, and this guy can join his friends. Spot right under your nose. All right, so once I get the hat cleaned up, now I'm going to decorate the hat, and you can do this any way you want. You can, any stamps. I mean, I happen to love this MKM tool. It actually comes with, let's see, here's mine. It's one of these, and it actually fits on here like this, so it works really great for doing any type of slab work, but I use it a lot just on its own. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to start in the back, and since I've got this wooden thing in the middle, I can press as hard as I want to, pretty much, and I can come around his nose, make that curve, and then come around to the back and join it. And there you have this guy. I don't know, he's kind of like a woodland gnome. He could go for Christmas, he could go for fall. Oh heck, he could go for any time of the year. Little handsome devil, you. Tell ya, love those bearded men. Isn't he cute? Thanks for watching, and I hope this helps you in your gnome making. And if it does, please leave a comment or share a picture. I'd love to see what you do. One of the things that I love about teaching pottery is the creativity that it breeds with the students. Everybody comes up with something new. You can do this exactly the way I just showed you, and guess what? It would look different because it's got your mark on it, your hands on it. So I will probably glaze this with some celadons so that all the texture shows up. So he gets to go with his friends. Nice addition. Okay, thanks for joining. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't yet. And thank you.